Sunpoint, wake-up call for the mission. Recently, there was a question Richard Natussel posted in regards to what you can do to disseminate the teaching of truth, the teaching of life, the teaching of spirit, respectively, the teaching of creation truth, along with the important, mandatory and relevant information and material offered by FIGU. Upon further analysis of the replies and the lack thereof, more explanations will be necessary to explain the importance of the subject matter and how exactly you can help. It is absolutely necessary to understand that life is about consciousness evolution. However, consciousness is awareness, so, paying no bias to anything, including the ecosystem surrounding the mission, it is necessary to become aware, conscious, of the current surrounding FIGU community, which is not only limited to core members, but the outer-lying peoples, including the allies and friends of FIGU, but also fans, believers and ankle dippers. Unfortunately, it is the case that there is a disconnect in the community of the peoples surrounding the FIGU ecosystem, particularly in regards to interest. Several people, including those who like and share posts on social media, have no further interest in disseminating the truth other than to temporarily feel good. On the other hand, there are also over-positive and over-eager wishful ones who do have the intention to disseminate the information, but this is also done, in large measure, for egoistic reasons, belief or poorly and unwisely executed ventures, leading to little to no results or great backlash. This is not to say the likes and shares are not appreciated or that they don't help, nor is it to knock down the efforts of those, even with certain degrees of untamed egoism, who wish to help. However, it is to bring a light to this very overlooked subject in regards to the community without biases or prejudices in order to refine, improve and better all of our collective efforts and contributions toward the mission. When the question arises, how can you help? This can make some people feel pressured, annoyed and irritated, especially those who, in good conscience, are sharing, liking, commenting and so forth in order to show their support and appreciation through liking, sharing, donating, buying the products or simply speaking mellifluous, inspired verses of creational knowledge and wisdom. It must be known that this certainly does help in its own way, and for some folks, this is all they need to do, especially if they do not wish to go further in dissemination for whatever reason, including reasons of their own safety. The truth is that it is impossible for everyone to be in a position of disseminating the material, regardless of however they would have the intention to or wish to appear to have the intention to gain acceptance from their peers. It's also not necessary, because not everyone is capable of the same strides, ideas, concepts, attitudes, executions, nor is everyone designed to perform certain tasks that are best delegated to others who would be much better qualified. Everyone fits the puzzle in their own way, and it is absolutely important that it is known no one should feel pressured that they're not doing enough or not good enough or that they're somehow inferior to proclaimers and disseminators, because the true innovators, truth spreaders, messengers, leaders and teachers etc., are ones who must perform this tireless work out of pure duty and obligation, and not out of feeling good, temporal support or gaining acceptance. So, in truth, this wake-up call is truly for the ones who, deep down and without egotistic reasons, know they belong to the mission as a forerunner, an innovator, a messenger, a relative master of the teaching, a leader, a force of good to bring good, the hands of creation invoking creation etc. However, some necessary perspective must be given to readers of this subject in regards to the promoters of the truth and the general necessary lifestyle it takes, by far and large, especially for those who have completely devoted their lives to the mission. This is an extremely difficult path that requires, for the lack of a better word, great sacrifices, especially to living normally. Many causes and movements in the world are mostly about showmanship, temporarily feeling good, only wish-washing and in doubt before departing to another group or cause. constantly trading movement after movement for the thrill and the adventure. This is absolutely not the case with the true mission workers. A life dedicated to the mission is a life dedicated to duty, service, obligation, truth, neutrality, comprehension, understanding, tolerance, patience, love, harmony, peace, control over one's thinking, feelings and emotions, and dealing with difficult mistakes, setbacks, losses, disappointments, hatred, antagonism, heavy resistance, and the list goes on. A life dedicated to dissemination of the truth is therefore routinely configured accordingly that the personality itself is completely dedicated to this work. This type of life does not buy many friends, though it always brings the right ones, and as it is well known, the creation within us is immeasurably greater than any suffering, trial or tribulation. However, this path requires enormous duty, strength, resilience, tenacity, indefatigability, never giving up, patience, persistence, perseverance, etc. Yet it also requires unique creativity and imagination, especially when sociological and psychological factors come into play, which, all too often, the overeager naively ignored to their uncontrolled passions to do good. This in particular is an extremely important factor for any spreader of the truth, because it should be known that the spreading of the truth requires not just knowledge but wisdom. Wisdom is the application of knowledge, experience and sound judgment, which by no means in wise comes overnight, nor is it dependent on age, because wisdom is gained from conscious examination of the life and absolute control over oneself, along with the ability to make use of every experience, regardless of positive or negative, into good, usable, and ultimately, victory. Several overeager spreaders neglect the mass psychology of their fellow Earth humans, which leads to terrible conflicts in the spreading of the truth. Of course, to a certain degree, especially with the religious and political machinations run amok, this is unavoidable, but it can be better confronted, dealt with and rectified in order to actually promote and spread the truth. The mass psychology of Earthlings, regardless of low evolution, must be respected because they are still creations of creation, and what type of information they can be exposed to, how they should be exposed to it, etc. must be accounted for. Any truth spreader, because unwisely spreading the truth only brings great harm to the mission but also great harm to yourself. It is therefore necessary for any truth spreader that respect toward their fellow Earthman must be held, and do not look down on them because they're unaware of the teaching and the material. It must also be brought into the fore of the generational differences, because modern youth and younger generations are less traditionally religious, though they are still hooked in beliefs of several kinds, including politics, etc. Therefore, as an example, approaches toward modern youth, using words like prophet, etc. will be a massive turn-off, regardless of if this is the truth or not. It's also the case, depending on the audience you're trying to infiltrate, that they will have no desire to hear of Billy, the Pledgerin, UFOs, ETs, aliens, prophecies, predictions, or even about overpopulation. Yes, indeed, these are real things and they are all very important, but measure your audience or the ones you're trying to reach accordingly. Ask yourself if it is necessary to bring up certain topics, especially if the ones you're trying to reach did not ask for the help. Creative, innovative, unconventional methods and means are highly effective in this belief-prone society, because the general population of Earth is so drenched in her religious, political and belief-based conditioning that, like a pathetic alcoholic, will fight tooth and nail for their beliefs. It should also be mentioned that it is impossible to change everyone. Some people are simply incapable of changing their minds, simply because of their evolutionary level and the thickness of belief. Please, stop fighting these people. Please, stop arguing with these people. They have the freedom to believe in whatever they choose, and even if you are to convert them to the truth, it would be religious and they will not appreciate the truth in full detail. bringing and incorporating their beliefs into it. This is also another issue, that is to say, the issue that many believe they need to convert others in order to give themselves peace about the truth. This is missionizing coercion that does far more harm than good. Even if the converted peoples are singing praises and dances about Billy, the Pledgerin, creation, overpopulation and so forth, they will not fully fathom the truth because their freedom to willingly come to the truth was stripped from them, therefore their learning is deeply hindered. This is indeed an expansive topic that requires exhaustive explanation, so no misconstruing or misunderstanding can come about, because the truth is that to live a life as a truth spreader is enormously difficult and requires skill, tact, wisdom, tolerance, patience, and above all, peace within oneself, knowing the truth without needing others to also think the same way. Being a truth spreader requires tremendous dedication and giving up things that no longer play vital importance to these duties. Of course, there are varying degrees of truth spreaders, and in no wise is it necessary that everyone must be on a full life path dedication to the spreading of the mission, because again, everyone fits the puzzle in his/her own way and must, at the end of the day, live their own lives. Truth spreading requires willing effort and in no way can be inspired or motivated other than temporal feeling highs to get out and do. It must be a choice made entirely by the individual, who must never be motivated, because motivation and inspiration, like all physical things, fade and die. Therefore, true commitment to the path of truth and truth spreading requires loyalty and staying power, even when things are negative, difficult and hard. Such paths require stupendous amounts of endurance and, by extension, a powerful, mighty consciousness that isn't coercive. This fine line of balance walking on the path as a truth spreader once more must come through personal choice, because no motivation is necessary once one lives in the laws of reality, creation, because he/she knows the truth and therefore knows the future thanks to the merit of their dedicated, wise, unrelenting work. Salome, my friend.